It has been almost 3 weeks since 5 people were sadly killed at Club Q in Colorado Springs, and communities are still coming together to remember their loved ones. Yesterday, family and friends of Daniel Aston came together for a memorial. They describe him as loving, loyal, and honorable. Daniel was a bartender and entertainer at the club and the self-proclaimed master of silly business. Daniel moved to Colorado Springs from Oklahoma 2 years ago, and his friends say he loved the outdoors and was passionate about music and poetry. Yesterday, the chapel on the campus of Colorado College was packed with mourners and filled with so much love.
Daniel had such a heart for helping others and championing others. And I think the best way that we can continue that legacy, that heart, that love is that we continue to champion each other.
So even when he was grown, Daniel was such a kid at heart that he was never too busy or too grown or too important to sit down and look at Pokemon cards for an hour or.
Daniel was only 28 years old, and if you're still looking for ways to help support victims and their families, the Colorado Healing Fund is taking donations at this time.
Well, the person accused of killing the 5 people inside Club Q began shooting almost immediately after entering the building. Those details and more were inside of documents that were unsealed yesterday. 9 News reporter John Glasgow joins us now. And John, the document shows the case investigators started building right after the suspected shooter came in.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And more evidence will come out in court, but this gives us a better idea of what happened that night. The arrest affidavit says that the attack was captured on the club's surveillance video. It also states the final moments or the moments after the shooting and what the suspected shooter was overheard saying. He apologized, telling the medical staff that it had been 4 days since they had slept. Investigators say that this image shows the suspect arriving at the club carrying an AR-style assault rifle and wearing a ballistic vest. The suspect is then seen entering Club Q and immediately opening fire in the main area of the bar. The document also confirms what we knew about the Army veteran there, Richard Fierro, and how he fought back and took the handgun away from the suspect. The affidavit doesn't give a motive for the shooting. However, our 9 News legal analyst Scott Robinson says that it may not matter, and the defense will likely have a difficult time with this case.
For all intents and purposes, it looks like a cold-blooded hate crime. There's absolutely nothing in the arrest warrant affidavit that would tend to create any kind of defense for the conduct of the alleged shooter at Club Q.
So we know that law enforcement had been warned about the suspect before. This morning, a judge will hear arguments on whether to release details of an arrest last year. The prosecutors, they dropped that case, but haven't said why at this point.
Slowly but surely, we're getting some more details in this case.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting if they do unseal that 2021 arrest affidavit, too, to see exactly what happened there and why those charges were not pursued with this suspect being on the FBI's radar.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like somebody dropped the ball for sure, that this guy should have been on the radar and for whatever reason wasn't. And we won't know until those documents are unsealed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right.
John, thank
Thanks.
you. We're also learning the suspect was on the FBI's radar on June last year, a day before threatening to kill family members and getting arrested. Now, up until now, it was thought that authorities didn't know the suspect until after the threat. The FBI did not explain the nature of last year's tip, but sealed documents given to the Associated Press on June 18th, 2021. The suspect's grandparents ran from their home, telling police the suspect was building a bomb and threatening to become, quote, the next mass killer. The FBI says it did an assessment and worked with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, then closed its assessment when El Paso County decided to pursue state charges. Well, those state charges were dropped for unknown reasons, which triggered a state law that requires cases to be sealed. NBC News reports the FBI is now asking new questions about websites the suspect created, including one where people can make anonymous racist and anti-Semitic posts.
Today, leaders at a hospital in Leadville are trying to figure out how to make sure employees get their paychecks on time. Payday is tomorrow, but St. Vincent Health's board of directors said in a meeting last night that as of right now, it does not have the money to make payroll. During that meeting, directors said the hospital was expecting a cash advance in early December, but that money has not arrived just yet.
But you can't promise when we will be paid next. Yeah. So you can't make a promise that we'll be paid. So does that still apply?
We can't tonight. We can't tonight.
I can't ask you to work if you're not getting paid. You know, that's a decision you'll have to make for yourself.
Concern?
Now, the board didn't come up with any resolutions last night. Much of the meeting was spent debating policies on whether employees have to work or if they can collect unemployment. We tried to contact the board for comment and have not heard back just yet.
Right now, a lot of people are having trouble finding basic medicine for kids. There is a shortage, and it's all across the country. It's a problem one mom in Firestone had to deal with firsthand. 9 News reporter Jennifer Meckles found out all the hoops this mom jumped through to get a prescription filled.
Whether it was COVID or just the crud.
Yeah, she just had a runny nose, a cough, fever, headache, the works.
4-year-old Zayla Schott came down with something gross last week.
Just was not getting better, and Tylenol, Motrin, some kids' cold medicine, it wasn't cutting it anymore, so.
Mom Aslan knew it was time to call in the professionals.
Took her to the pediatrician and had a double ear infection. He recommended amoxicillin, and he told me there is a shortage on it. So he did give me a paper prescription so that way I could hop around to pharmacy. And
for the next few hours,
called my pharmacy first here in Firestone, and they were out. Called the King Supers, they were out.
Aslan called pharmacy after pharmacy.
And then I called the Safeway in Firestone, they were out.
Amoxicillin, a commonly used antibiotic, is now in short supply across the U.S.
Called the Walmart on 136, they were out.
The FDA lists amoxicillin on its drug shortage list, and manufacturers point to increased demand for the drug as the primary reason why.
I don't know, I called my mom too, and I almost broke down crying. I'm like, Mom, this is crazy, I don't know what to do.
18 pharmacy calls later, Aslan finally found amoxicillin at a Sam's Club.
I asked them if they can hold it, but she's like, without the prescription, we can't. And I was like, oh my God, so I just sped down there. The liquid gold.
As if a sick kid isn't stressful enough.
Yeah, you expect to go to the doctor and get something to feel better, and then when that's not a resource available, it was really scary.
Glad she finally found it. Aslan says this would have been a lot easier. Pharmacies would just point her to one of their locations that has the drug in stock rather than making her call all the places on her own. The good news is, she says, everyone is now feeling better.